What is good? My anime faithful. What is good, yo? Guys, I think I have found my favorite princess of all times. Um, Watching this girl absolutely do what she does best, which seemingly is absolutely destroy anything in sight. I was very happy to see this week's conclusion with her being okay because if anybody's going to try to take her out, I will be very angry. But regardless of that, I honestly did not expect so much to pop off within these episodes. Like, I don't expect anything, so when a whole bunch of stuff pops off, like when it does, it's just a nice breath of fresh air. Um, Not only did a lot happen, they pretty much go to show us how much different stuff can, be a part of this world. Dragons to princesses who are ridiculously strong and growing stronger by the minute, or not stronger, but they get their strengths from like weapons, and with the weapon they could be much stronger than they actually show off to be. So I thought that was a good way of just giving us an understanding of how powers can fluctuate with and without weapons. So pretty much like seven deadly sins when it comes to like treasures. It just helps pull out the potential in the characters much easier than it would be to just take your hands and scoop up a whole bunch of water with it, was their comparison. And the weapon is more like something straight up draining the water or like funneling it so you can use it a lot better. So, that being said, I honestly feel like there's going to be a lot to this show, and just to the grand scheme of them doing what they're doing this week. Like a lot of just random stuff popping off, a lot of small details that you could miss if you're not watching. And one thing I was kind of disappointed in, or I was getting a little aggravated about, was the cat girl who, believe it or not, they gave us a really cool little way to look at how her situation is by the very beginning of the episode by showing this stray cat who could have been with other ones but decided to stay in one spot and just kind of keep its distance. But then all of a sudden, when, all is said and done in this week's episode, it turned into a cat who had friends who had, other cats around it, and it was treating it a lot better than it was by itself. So it was a very, very cool little nod at who she was and how she was, and then ultimately throwing that away after she herself finds three other people who are willing to put up with her and actually enjoyed her company from as far as we can tell. So it was a very interesting way of just showcasing how her life really is at the moment, and I think that was a pretty smart move on the story as a whole, because not only was I not expecting to get that like perfect um, it was like a perfect way of showcasing just how she is. She's a loner who doesn't think she needs friends, and then all of a sudden, when she spots the cat who she thought didn't have friends as well, it turns out that that cat all of a sudden found its way to be with the other cats that she was pretty much kind of observing or like just watching, in a way. And in a way, she was watching these three characters do what they were doing, so the parallel was just on point. And I really did like how all of a sudden she started to like being around them, because she, instead of just leaving, she actually sat down and was with them while they were eating and stuff like that. So it just goes to showcase how much she was growing on them. The one thing I will say is this person she's trying to impress was another smart way of just giving us an outlet to why she was doing the thing she was doing at the time she was doing it. God, this girl's range sucks. Um, and my only problem with it was the fact that anytime we had seen her, she was just she was always controlling the monsters that were attacking the princess. So that was mad annoying to watch because that princess is probably one of my favorite female characters in quite some time. Sure, she's very like an airhead and stuff like that, but I don't see anything wrong with it because it just goes to show that she's willing to enjoy her time with the company that she's with, and I like that aspect about her. She has a ridiculous stomach that can pretty much eat anything. She did a eating contest just for breakfast, so kind of showcases how ridiculous her stomach power is. um, Not only that, it's just so refreshing watching her go through all the enemies that she does. I mean, she punched a dragon so hard it pretty much crashed to the ground and couldn't recover. So, I mean, there's a lot going on with her character, and I can see her growing on me more than most characters in this show, including the main guy, because to be fair, I think that's the only lackluster part about this show is the main character, the Lord, which is unfortunate because his design's pretty basic and he is beyond basic in the case of he has really no character. He's like no character at all, which is unfortunate. The most he can say is like two words tops, which makes sense. I mean, they're just playing off of the fact that he's lost his memory, he's lost, his communication skills, he's lost everything. But the little things he's gained from being with this girl, so that's fine and all, but it just felt like he could have been such a better character, or that he's supposed to feel this way, like this empty character for now until he actually grows a little bit more and remembers some more stuff. So I don't I don't hate the show because of him. I just think out of everybody, he's kind of the lackluster part, I guess you can say. He is the one thing that I think the show is going to have to improve on, and that's just me, right? Like anybody who likes this character is that's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that the show is bad or anything because of it. I'm just saying that once I saw the princess and her pretty much just going ham, destroying people and monster, well, not people, she just destroys monsters. But once I saw her just doing what she does and talking the way she does and her character all together, it feels like they put most of that personality and things they could have did for him into her, and then his character that treats him like a lord, she feels more or less just like someone who is going to be forced into, doing whatever it is the guy kind of wants to do at times. For instance, being bait for a giant dragon to chew on while the other princess actually does the damage and attacks. So yeah, there's some really weird stuff that goes on with this show, and I think it's for the best because I love wacky, zany shows as much as the next person because they're just fun to watch. They're fun to predict what could happen, what's real, what's fake. But like I said, the cat girl was getting on my nerves with how much she was attacking, but at least we got a little bit of an explanation as of why she was doing it. She was trying to earn praise from someone that we haven't met yet and wanted to just get some type of, acknowledgement from somebody who clearly is going to be a problem because for some odd reason she wants to take out the best character in the show. And because the sword was gone, the cat girl thought she actually had a better opportunity to do so. So she obviously has information of how powerful the sword is or how powerful the sword makes her. And that was just another reason for me to be like, okay, she's really going to go and attack while this girl doesn't have a sword because she feels like she has a better chance. That's messed up. Um, but of course, that wasn't the case. Our princess girl is such an airhead that she just does whatever she does on a whim, and she winds up pretty much foiling the girl's plans to use the monsters to attack her every single time just by overpowering them. And for the dragon, it was more lucky and help from our main character just being so calm in that situation, right? Like the girl said who calls him Lord and stuff, he is doing this plan because he believes in her. But I also think he believes in the other princess girl and her strength, right? Like this goes to show you how much he already started to rely on others throughout this. He was practicing his sword work and he was getting beat up by the same thing he was training on. So it just goes to showcase how long it's going to take him to grow and how long it's going to be until he's probably a character who they can actually rely on. The other thing that they did this week that I thought was interesting that I don't know if other people talked about is him not using the ability he gained, or not gained, but the ability he used during the first episode, the ability to make others like stronger and use more power, whatever the case it was. He doesn't end up using that, and it just goes to show you how ridiculously strong the princess is, and I absolutely loved it. So she got her sword back, so now she's even more strong than she was before, and she winds up getting two allies that I already thought they were gonna stick together after the first episode, but when they did it, I was like, oh man, we gotta just watch the princess do stuff by herself. But after the whole guild thing was brought up, it looks like we will have some type of camaraderie between them, and maybe even the cat girl after she figures out the person she's trying to impress is trash, and she could just hang out with these people and they'll always be impressed with everything she does just because she's around. So with all that being said, everybody, I hope you're having an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be when you're watching this. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you sooner than later. And thank you so much for putting up with my weird schedules. I truly, truly am blessed to have people that don't get on me, knowing that if you want to keep up with me, I do keep people posted on Twitter, letting people know that the review is going to be later. So thank you so much for all the support, everybody, and take care. Peace.